Stuart and Patty Rosenberg own Waverly Farms, which has been in Stuart's family for generations. Their products include Spanish goats, Black Angus beef, and seasonal vegetables. With the help of the Soil and Water District and the NRCS staff, they were able to develop a conservation plan that utilizes rotational grazing, alternative watering system, and fencing to protect the stream buffer and surface water.
Our organization is a voluntary participation. It's up to the producer whether he participates in our programs. We don't have any regulatory teeth, so to speak. If a producer wants us to come out to his farm and help evaluate what's there, then we're there and we do the best we can to address those issues. You know, are there crop fields, pasture fields, animals, where they are they in the streams, are they not in the streams? Is there erosion problems on the crop fields or around the barns? Is there this big pile of cow manure sitting out there with water running across it and going down the creek? So we try to help them solve those problems that might be on the land that relate to conservation of soil and water.
The farmer's working on a narrow profit margin, and that the benefits that what you're asking the farmer to do are going to benefit society as a whole. So society ought to be willing to pay for a little of that. That's what the legislature has decided. That's why that money is available. And our job is to try to help the farmer as much as we can get his share of that money for what he's doing. It's a win-win situation. The farmer gets a nice water system or a nice pasture rotation or whatever he's doing. He gets that he probably couldn't afford on his own. And the state meets the goals that they've set for water quality, which is what drives most of the money that comes into our program. Once we come out and meet with the farmer and decide what he needs to do, what he wants to do, work with him on what he'd like to actually install, whether it be fencing or waters or whatever. Then, once the project is started, the actual installation of whatever we're doing, the district is out there often, whether the farmer's doing it himself or whether he's hiring a contractor. And we pretty much, if a contractor's involved, we meet with them periodically, often daily, while they're working to make sure everything is going in according to plan.
I guess I would say, particularly since we're new farmers, that we would be still groping today for the right plan and the right vendors and the right configuration. And we've always been impressed with how Charlie and Dennis particularly, and everyone they introduce us to, comes out and meets with us when we can meet and gives us answers to our questions.
If you look right through there, you can see a large grass field that has been used for pasture. It has water, a stream down through this part of it, and we're going to put in some water, a water trough, and do some cross fencing there so that they can continue and expand their pasture rotation.
I think it's somewhat what we said earlier. It's first-rate professional knowledge, a comprehensive understanding of the program, because the program is complex, but they are translating it for you right onto your farm. And then when you say, well, what about this, what about that, they can talk about pasture experiences that they've had throughout their lives nearby. And I said it before, but I think that's the combination that just makes this work.
I think a lot of farmers just don't know about this, and we actually would not have known about it except that our cousin in North Carolina did it. That's really how we knew. It wasn't from any other source, so word of mouth and videotapes like this I think are important.
Here are some of the common practices installed at Waverly Farm. Install fence to divide fields for rotational grazing. Well for water source with pipelines and water troughs. Fencing to exclude animals from surface water and to protect the stream buffer. 75% of the estimated cost is covered by the Virginia Agricultural Cost Share Program.
Years ago, farm ponds were the source of water for livestock. A lot of the farm ponds that are in our area now were dug for the sole purpose of having water for livestock. They also, of course, go in creeks and branches too. The problem with that is that now there are so many livestock in our area that the contaminants are in the water. Primarily fecal bacteria is what we're concerned with. So we're trying to get those areas fenced out And then if you do that, of course, you have to provide some other source of water for the livestock. And that's where we come in with the state cost share money, trying to help them put in a water system. It usually entails a well and some troughs, your pipeline, and of course the fence that we need to get them out of the water.
It's clear that we have good pasture. This is part of the country that's good for that. And we're going to go to phase 2 because we think it makes our land more valuable.
Mm-hmm. And there's so much science now about if you can put goats on your land and then cattle and then even horses and chickens behind that, you cut down on fertilization, the need for lime, all kinds of things.
If you're not making a profit on it, it's hard to leave that to your children if it's not, they can't make a living on it. That's our sole reason for being here, is to help the farmer. That's why we're here. It's simple. That's why we're here, to help the farmer.
The process begins with a non-farm meeting with the producer to see the farm, gain an understanding of the operation, and determine the goals of the producer. Resource concerns are identified, and program eligibility and details are discussed. If the producer is eligible and interested, District and NRCS staff will create a conservation plan with several scenarios and associated cost estimates. These plans are reviewed with the producer to determine what best meets his or her goals. Once the landowner agrees to a plan, they enter into a contract with the district. In many cases, they will also have a contract with the USDA for additional federal cost share. District and NRCS staff will assist producers in every step of the way so they understand and feel comfortable with the program. Staff will guide the producer through the process from sign up, paperwork, technical assistance, practice implementation, reimbursement, and checkout. Staff will provide the producers with vendor and contractor information so they can pick a contractor familiar with the program requirements and standards. District and NRCS technicians will monitor the installation of the project and verify that components such as fence and water troughs are installed according to specifications. For the Virginia Agricultural Cost Share Program, typically the cost share is 75% of the total cost and 25% tax credit. Although, depending on where your farm is located and what programs you sign up for, some producers can receive close to 100% cost share reimbursement. This video was made possible through the funding from James River Association and Altria. For more information on Virginia's agricultural cost share programs, please contact your local soil and water conservation districts.